I recently reviewed these two excellent 2-in-1 ThinkPads, the X13 Gen 2 and X1 Gen 8. They're both available on the used market at very reasonable prices, and now it's time to decide which one is going to stick around as my mobile daily driver.
Slap Tech.
Upon first release, these laptops were available at over 1,000 smackaroos. Now that a couple years have passed, used examples can be found at around $600, the perfect budget range for products featured on this channel most of the time. These examples have different but mostly similar specs. The CPUs are a couple generations apart but offer very similar performance since they're both ultra-low voltage Intel offerings with the same Iris Xe GPU. RAM count is 16 gigs for both models, both have a 1TB full-sized M.2 2280 NVMe SSD, and both have similarly sized batteries. The biggest differentiators are the form factor and that the X1 has the optional 4K OLED screen. For this comparison, I'll still score each individual category from my reviews and give the winner a 5 per category to a potential max of 70. The other will score the same or less depending on how far behind I feel it is. Feel free to agree or disagree with my assessment in the comments below. First off, we'll look at the AC adapters, which are too similar to call a winner. They're both 65 watts, and sure, the X1's charger is physically smaller, but they're both extremely mobile and use upgradable from the wall cords. 5s all around. The battery life is a bit skewed because the X1 I reviewed uses a vampiric 4K OLED screen. It also doesn't help that the Intel's 11th generation ULV processors, like the one in the X13, were basically perfect for what they were designed for. The 13th generation processors have a next generation architecture that was clumsily shoehorned into a ULV package, the result being more performance but also more heat and higher power draw. Thus, there's much more battery life in the X13 for a 2-point lead at 5 to the X1's 3. Build quality comes down to personal preference. The X13 is wrapped in seductive carbon fiber that always stays close to room temperature and is never uncomfortable to touch under normal load. The X1 is wrapped in aluminum, which is jarringly cold at first and heats up to be less than perfectly comfortable under normal load. The X13's body is flexible and bends under pressure but never creaks, with a solid display that's hard to flex. The X1's body is a solid chunk of lightweight metal that refuses to contort both around the keyboard and the display. Opening the X13 requires 2 hands with stern, confidence-inspiring hinges that supply an ample amount of friction while it bends all the way back. Opening the X1 is a strikingly one-handed operation with loose hinges that move easily and still do a fantastic job of holding the display in place without any wobble or drift. The only gripes I have about the X1 is that the keyboard keys have a reflective finish that makes it hard to read the keycaps under direct lighting, and the edges of the body around the palm rest are very sharp, making it an uncomfortable place for the bottom of your hands. The X1 makes up for this by not readily showing fingerprints and looking clean much longer than the X13's black body. Personally, I'm in love with the carbon fiber finish for its feel, steady external temperatures, and providing a sturdy grip that doesn't feel like it wants to jump out of your hands when carrying it around. I wouldn't miss the X1's aluminum build if it were encased in carbon fiber as well, so the X13 is going to get the 5 and the X1 a 4. Anyone that wants to disagree can do so in the comments below. Weight is a touchy subject because I'm comparing a 13-inch device to a 14-inch device. Naturally, the X13 is going to be lighter by virtue of its form factor, but also because of its carbon fiber body. To be completely fair, the X1 isn't far behind regardless, and they both provide a great laptop and tablet experience. Unfortunately for the X1, the smaller X13 is just tossable, and its weight is perfect. Also, the X1's non-2-in-1 carbon cousin is even lighter than the X13, and that is simply mind-boggling. The X13 is going to get the 5, and the X1 is close enough behind to get a 4. Heat output is very similar between the two, despite the contrast in their materials. Like I previously stated, the X13 lives more often in a comfortable middle ground, starting at room temperature and ending there if only performing light tasks. The X1 will start uncomfortably cool to the touch and morph into a mild heat plate under normal load. Both will cook a lap under sustained heavy load, and the X1 will take longer to dissipate higher temps. Relative to other laptops, neither are offensive in the slightest, and I don't feel like it's fair for the X13 to walk away with another point lead when the X1 isn't that bad and is already kind of related to the build quality anyway, so they'll both get 5s. The holes in the side are mostly the same, just in different places, which is like, whatevs, man. And yeah, the X13 in this case comes with a SIM card and smart card slot, but I use neither of those, and I don't intend to ever. Honestly, they should both get 2s for not having an SD card reader, but that's not how the system works, so it's 5s all around. The guts are also virtually identical. Sure, the X13 has a WLAN slot for a modem, but the X1 has that available too, it's just not included in this particular example. Other than that, the bottom covers are equally easy to remove, both use a full-sized M.2 2280 drive, and neither have upgradable memory. Plus, the batteries are just as easy to replace in both models. There are no raw advantages, so they'll both get 5s again. Apart from having guts, both laptops have keyboards, and ThinkPad keyboards at that. The typing experiences on both offer little differentiation, but the X1 edges out the X13 for having a full-sized keyboard and slightly less resistance, leaving plenty of necessary force but a more predictable typing feel. Yes, the X1 has shiny keycaps, which I despise, but I can also melt that into the build quality point loss because I really feel like the X1 deserves a better score for the typing feel. The X1 will get a 5 and the X13 a 4. Which brings us to the displays. Holy sh**, what a massacre this is, especially in this rare matchup. 4K OLED to 1200p low power IPS, extremely minimal ghosting in the X1 to average ghosting in the X13, 100% DCI-P3 in the X1 to 100% sRGB in the X13. To be fair, the X13 screen is very livable, it's just David versus, who was that big ugly tyrant that was up to no good? Oh yeah, the Me Too movement. Damn that Bathsheba. 5 for the X1, and the X13 is far enough behind for a 2. Speakers are also a slaughter. 4 speakers in the X1 to 2 in the X13. Superior volume and clarity in the 14-incher, and the X13 just can't keep up for the life of it. In the grand scheme of things, the X1 uses livable laptop-class speakers that are impressive for being laptop speakers, but at the end of the day, are still laptop speakers. Regardless, it's enough of a lead to give it a couple points over the X13 at 5 to the smaller Yoga's 3. Here's a test of the X1's webcam, 1080p. This is an excellent lighting, and it uses a quad mic array for excellent audio quality and plenty of mic volume. And here's a test of the webcam on the X13, 720p. This is in the same excellent lighting conditions, and Windows Enhanced Audio has been disabled because if it's turned on, it sucks. So, noise cancellation is not possible on the X13. System performance between these two laptops is also supposed to be an unfair fighting match. There's a whole ass generational gap between the 11th and 13th Gen ULV CPUs. That should mean that the 13th Gen CPU wins hands down, doesn't it? Well, sure, it has twice the performance when it can actually belt it all out and not be throttled, but under sustained heavy load, throttling takes it down to the 11th Gen's level. When it comes to throttling the 11th Gen CPU, there's very little of it, adding to its sustained value over the past few years. In that regard, there's nothing that the X1 can do that the X13 can't. In the real world, this means that web browsing, email, and office work will be sufficiently speedy, and even hobbyist chores won't be a huge thorn in the side. Those that are proficient in their creative suite of Photoshop and video editing software will beg for something much more powerful with both laptops. Still, this video is about comparing the two of them, and I don't feel like the X1 has a huge lead, or any lead at all, over the X13, so they'll both get 5s, even though they both kinda suck. PC gaming is all about performance, and these CPUs have the exact same integrated GPU, Iris Xe, with its glorious maximum of 96 execution units. Throttling is going to choke out any CPU-related advantage the 1365U could possibly have, so expect eerily similar performance in older agreeable titles. Both laptops should get 3s for their FPS shortfalls, but since there are no other laptops in this comparison to show them up, they'll both have a 5. While PC gaming is all about performance, my retro gaming assessment allows the peripherals to influence the scores. The speakers and display make it a clear win for the X1, where comprehensive audio output and almost no ghosting allow for the best retro gaming experience. What softens its lead is the extreme portability of the X13 and superior battery life. In a rare remote circumstance, I'd rather have the X13 with me, but those situations are few and far between for myself. Thus, the X1 will get a 5 and the X13 gets a 4 because it's so damn cute when it boots up TMNT Arcade on the go. Well, that's all the categories. It's time to tally up the scores and see who the victor is. And the winner is the Lenovo Yoga 9i. Oh, that's what I'm reviewing next. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And the winner between these two laptops is the ThinkPad X1 Yoga Gen 8 with a stern 4-point lead. With a difference this wide, it wouldn't matter if it was equipped with an IPS screen, because while that would even out the display scores, it would noticeably extend the battery life as well. Given this result, it looks like the X13 is going to be packed up to sell, and the X1 will become my mobile daily driver to beat. Next up, we'll see what kind of disruption the Yoga 9i will bring to my quest for the perfect 2-in-1. This has been a head-to-head analysis of the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Yoga Gen 8 to the X13 Yoga Gen 2 here on Slaptech. Let me know what you thought of the process and result, or let me know your suggestions for the best budget-friendly 2-in-1 in the comments below. Stay tuned for a review of the budget-unfriendly Lenovo Yoga 9i here on Slaptech. Thanks for watching, and you guys, have a good night.